Hello and welcome to the latest episode of the American Fitbaw Cast.
What number is it?
Episode 51.
Good effort.
We have more episodes now than Case Keenum did passing yards against the New York Giants, which was...
Get away.
He got
Really?
37 yards he got.
Wow!
I didn't realise it was that bad. I know Haskins came in, but
37 passing yards on 11 attempts.
is he coming back?
Hopefully not.
Then you'll just give Haskins the key for the whole
He's got to
season?
now.
Really? You just roll, just go with it?
Got to.
Oh, juicy. And they've got somebody horrible in this league.
It's the Patriots.
Oh yeah, it's Patriots at home. They're going to win 5.
I feel sorry for Haskins. I feel...
That defence, the way they're playing, they're going to wreck them.
And that offence, the way they're playing, they're going to do nothing. Okay, so as ever, I'm joined with my usual compatriots. Who are you? Where do you come from?
I'm some bloke.
My name is Dave the Rave.
This is not how I anticipated this going. So,
And Andrew, hello, here as ever.
how you both doing?
Yeah, alright.
I'm alright, half asleep. Heavy dose of coffee about to be ingested over the next 40 minutes or so.
Love that. You'll get the caffeine rush at the end.
Yeah.
As long as I don't fart. Professional
Right.
standards, keeping it out. As always.
How many episodes do you think Steve said the worst thing on the episode? 51, how many? I'm saying at least 30 plus.
40, yeah.
I was going to go with 48.
I'm doing any old tap my Shaquem Griffin comment.
Anyway, so...
Go backtrack through the old episodes and find that gem. and then promptly refer me to the authorities.
If you're still with us, if you're still with us after this 2 minutes of this episode, then I promise it will get better.
Thank you for sticking with us.
2 minutes in. So we're going to stick with our sort of usual format that we seem to like just now. We're going to talk about 3 games that we all enjoyed, and I'm going to let Steve go first, seeing as you're the one that normally ruins it. Let's.
Why not, eh?
Just ruin it at the start.
Yeah.
I like
Okay,
the
so
exit.
I went for a battle of the basement teams, Cincinnati Bengals at Pittsburgh Steelers on Monday Night Football. Coming into this game, both teams had not won anything. The poor Steelers generally seemed to be in free fall. The Bengals seemed to have a bit of fight about them because they had some close losses, like it was only 21-20 to Seattle, which was pretty good, and so I wasn't quite as panicky about how their season was planning to be out. And by word of the opposite result of probably what I thought would happen. The Steelers absolutely blew the Bengals off the field in a very comprehensive victory.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't so much even... I mean, the Steelers defence really turned it on. They got 8 sacks on Andy Dalton, but it was as much Andy Dalton regressing into the Andy Dalton barometer as to how bad they played. What did he end up on? 37 attempts, only 21 of them completed, so he's a shade over 50, but not a lot, for 171 yards.
Yeah.
Stinky, no touchdowns. On the flip side, the Steelers offense, Mason Rudolph went 28 attempts, 24 completions.
It was pretty good.
229 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Pretty solid, like. And I didn't even realise how well he had done until I started looking at the pass receiving yards, and I'm like, Connor, 8 targets, 8 receptions. Alright, Samuels, 8 targets, 8 receptions. And I'm like, wait a minute, where's the first drop here?
Yeah.
It's right down at Juju Smith-Schuster, 4 targets and 3 receptions. Like, oh, Juju, you're letting the side down here. James Washington, one target only, didn't pass it.
Oof.
You mentioned at the beginning, it's like
Yeah, I
when
thought-
the divisional previews about you thought this might be his bounce, since he's really not featured
Nope.
that much at all this year.
Nope.
So they might have whiffed on that one.
Yep.
But the Steelers really kind of... It was a bounce-back victory for them. Kind of what they needed to get their season go. What was the stat you said, Andrew? 17-0 on Monday Night Football?
Yeah,
The Steelers?
last 17 games, they've
Yeah,
won
they've won.
every one.
That's
They just want the schedulers to flip out. So you can flex
17
the Monday
Mondays.
night game. No, not sort them out. They can't, but it'd be nice if they could.
No win.
Well, yeah, I suppose. But yeah, I was just pleasantly surprised. Looking at the highlights as well, there was actually another dropped interception of Andy Dalton quite early in the game as well. So I mean, it could have been even more lopsided.
There's a blow for the Bengals as well. John Ross is out for up to 4 weeks.
Oh, is it? I missed that one.
Yeah, he's got a shoulder injury, so
So that's them down John Ross and AJ Green at the moment.
So Tyler Boyd is going to get all the ball.
So we'll just put him in double coverage and he'll do nothing.
Yep, probably.
Oh dear.
So yeah.
So where are they going to pick up their first one? Are they going to get one this weekend?
Do they play the Redskins at any point?
No.
Oh, I don't know. I'll look that far.
No, but they play the Cardinals this weekend, so
Play
we'll probably get one then.
Cincinnati's at home.
It's good when your team's rubbish.
Yeah.
But you're on 0 wins, so somebody's going to come out there with a win, more than likely.
Or a tie again.
It could be a tie. Could be a tie.
Two wins equals
no,
a tie.
Redskins Bengals, wasn't it?
Is that the game?
2 ties equals a win. Is that what you said? in terms of, because it's technically a half win, is what it counts as in the splits, but
it doesn't.
Well,
It's still
really
wins
when it all
first.
shakes down. Yeah, wins comes first. So
I genuinely do think they'll get a win this weekend.
yeah. Which doesn't bode well for even with all the people they've lost.
Even with
Do you just think your Cards defense just isn't that good to? Well, Swearingen got cut, didn't he?
He did.
Is he the fall guy?
I mean, he only played 99% of defensive snaps on Sunday, so
Yeah, okay.
to then cut him seems a strange decision.
Bit harsh.
I like that we're off topic from the Bengals and we're now moving to the Cardinals, but I like every time the camera zooms into Cliff Kingsbury, I just feel like he's got that look of I have no idea what I'm doing right now. Like, where am I? Look.
Not the Jason Garrett clap, is it? Is it as bad as that? Can be.
My genuine hope for this season has now turned to I hope it's a poor season and I hope that it's the end. No, I hope that it's the end of Steve Keim.
GM change.
Yeah.
Still think he's got the Kyler Murray pick okay at the minute. We've seen enough.
I
Seen
think
enough that he's the guy.
That's okay. But
it's everywhere else that's suffering.
Yeah.
It's a very depleted roster, unfortunately. Other than
didn't you draft like 5 wide receivers, like Hakeem Butler and Andy Isabella, like quite high as well, like 3rd and 4th rounds?
Yeah, Hakeem Butler, Andy Isabella, Keyshawn Johnson.
Have any of them
played much?
So Isabella has played 9 snaps.
Oh, good.
Johnson's done alright, Butler's on IR and is out for the season.
Oh. Sorry, is that 9 snaps for the whole season?
Yes.
Good.
That and 8 of them were on Sunday there.
Oh, good.
Oh, okay, so he's been brought in slowly, but yeah.
After Crabtree was cut, he got Crabtree's 8 snaps.
Yes, there you would have got.
Mm-hmm.
So we went a bit off topic there.
But just a little bit. I'd pretty much summarised as much as I was
so,
with the Steelers.
I guess the final point, the Bengals up until that had looked in games. They hadn't been blown away. This is the first time they've been blown away, so it'll be interesting to see how they bounce back against the Cards.
An easy game in the roster. Steelers look like they've got back into a groove, but they go home to Ravens this weekend. I think Steelers at home rather than Baltimore. I know they're definitely playing the Ravens, and I mean that is a slugfest.
Yeah, that's going to be a great
one game to mark on your cards every season.
They hate each other.
Absolute, just somebody's likely to get beat up.
Someone's going to get a Burfict.
More on him later.
It's that game. There's been some absolute classics over the last few years, so that'll be interesting to see.
Okay, and Andrew, your game.
Yeah, so from the basement to the top, I've decided I'll speak about the Chiefs at the Lions. Yes, Chiefs at the Lions. It was at the Lions. It was in Detroit, which was an excellent game. So 2 undefeated teams coming into this. One who we know are a genuine team, the Kansas City Chiefs, who ultimately won out in the game. And then the other, the Detroit Lions, who were undefeated going into it. They did have that tie in week 1 against the Cardinals, which retrospectively looks like a tremendous result for the Cardinals and an awful one for the Lions.
It's funny how these things shake out. It's like the Vikings lost to the Bills in week 3 last season. It came out absolutely out of nowhere, and everyone was like, "What the hell happened there?"
Yeah.
Bye.
But yeah, so that does look like a really weird result, that week 1 result. But this was an absolutely brilliant game.
Yep.
So the Lions went ahead. They were 10-0 up at the end of the first quarter. By the end of the second quarter, it was 13 each. Third quarter, the Chiefs went ahead 20-13. The Lions, by the end of the third quarter, were up by 23-20. And then the lead changed again during the fourth quarter. So first to the Chiefs, 27-23. The Lions then responded with a touchdown, and then the Chiefs responded with another one to finish off with a 34-30 win. Do you know what the most surprising thing about this game when you look at the stats? Pat Mahomes, 24 completions from 42 attempts for 315 yards, which solid, decent. No passing touchdowns.
Yep.
Unreal. He had just gone 14 games in a row where he put 2+.
I
think he'd equalled the record. I don't
Possibly.
think he
don't
did
know off the top of
it.
my
So I think he just equalled it.
I was going to say 24 out of 42 is bad for him.
For him, yeah, completion percentage.
It is,
that's not ideal. But it's the 0 touchdowns is the absolute shocker. No interceptions though. So, I mean, at least he wasn't giving the ball away.
Yeah.
There was a huge moment in this game though with Kerryon Johnson's fumble on the goal line. That changed the tide of this game.
Yes. Now that they called it a fumble in the field, but it was pretty inconclusive for the.
Yeah.
Am I thinking of the right one?
Yeah.
So this was the one where he was on his back.
Oh, is this one where they picked it up, scooped it, and
Yeah.
scored?
So he was about to go sort of land on his back. He didn't quite land, and he reached out above his head to try and get the ball to the goal line. It was knocked out his hand, and then the Chiefs defensive player, I can't quite remember who it was, picked it up. Actually had their knee touching the ground as they picked it up, but crucially no Lions player touched them.
So down by contact.
Wasn't down by contact, and therefore was able to run it back the whole way for the defensive touchdown. And yeah, that was the massive point in the game. So that happened at, let me just go find where I was in my notes. So that gave the Chiefs a 2013 lead in the third quarter. And obviously the Lions should have had a 2013 lead at the same point. And then the lead was sort of exchanged from there on in. But yeah, if that doesn't happen, the Lions probably see that game out, and you're having an even more interesting conversation.
Well, we mentioned it last week that we think that the Lions are pretty legit this season, and they were meant to be the weakest team in that division.
Yeah.
The fact that they are playing well, that is a scary strong division.
That division's wide open for all four.
It is.
Anyone could win, and you wouldn't argue against it at this point. You'd be like, yeah, that's well deserved.
The only team I feel probably won't win the division, they might still be in playoff contention, but won't win the division, is the Vikings, because there's something just not quite right in their passing game at the moment.
The offense. Yeah.
Agreed.
But other than that, yeah, that division is scary strong. Particularly defensively.
Yeah.
Massively strong. So yeah, this game I thought it was an excellent game to watch, and it was really the
Travis Kelce.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
So the Travis Kelce who received
almost
the ball
went like a
around
player.
about the first down mark, and then he spots Shady coming up behind him, and he just lays it off to him, who gets another 20 or so yards. It was a brilliant play.
I really am surprised that this doesn't happen more in the NFL.
Yeah, I was going
and
to
I
say
wonder
that.
if the amalgamation, because through time, and it will take maybe 20 years, but rugby is becoming bigger in the college game.
Yeah.
And I think you're going to get a lot of players that, it depends on how they
So
schedule
they've
it.
just launched a Super League of rugby in the States as well.
Right, brilliant.
So they are starting to
Yeah.
really
I wonder
grow the
whether-
game over there as well.
Yeah, if at high school, if people will play dual sports, you know how
Yeah.
quite often they play dual sports because the seasons run opposite each other when it comes to high schools. If they can time rugby and American football off each other, you're going to get a lot more people with that mixed skill set when they get to college and hit the NFL, and whether you'll see slightly more of these plays coming out.
I think one of the things you'll see possibly is obviously at rugby when someone is running and sprinting and they see a tackle ahead, they're looking around as to who can I pass this ball off to, whereas in the NFL they're just like, right, can I
Protect
just
the ball.
either avoid this or plough through it. So what we might see is more on those big explosive running plays, will the ball be passed off a little bit, which I think it will improve. I think it makes things exciting as well.
I kind of hope they don't though, because then it'll
Don't
happen
know.
too often. I think, like it's fun.
You like it when it's a wild play?
Yeah.
Like
Like
it happens once a season.
Yeah, like if it
oh
comes
my God,
out.
did you see this? Yeah, right, it becomes normal.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But
No,
yeah,
yeah.
cool. Anyway, question for you. This game specifically, Patrick Mahomes, does he have too many options per play? I know they won the game, but as a potential issue, the reason that came into my head was he hit 8 different targets in this game, and that doesn't include obviously Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, when he comes back.
That's a lot of people, like, just in the sense of, can that be a bit too much for him? I think he's capable
over the course of a game. So, what's the makeup of that? Let's have a look at the.
So you've got Mecole Hardman, Byron Pringle, LaShawn McCoy, Demarcus Robinson, Dion Yelder, Darrell Williams, Sammy Watkins, Travis Kelce. There's also Damian Williams to come back.
Yeah.
I just wondered if, like, as a potential issue for the Chiefs.
So is that 5 receivers, 2 running backs, or is it 3 running backs?
2 running backs, 5 receivers,
and a tight end.
And a tight end. And you've got those 2 names to come back. You'd imagine someone will drop off.
Yeah.
I know
I just
what,
want.
yeah, I know what you mean. I suppose it kind of depends. The bit I don't know, and we don't have enough numbers in front of us to back it up, is are they playing like 4 receiver wide sets that often that it's, you know, with an empty backfield, therefore it's not a problem then, because you want 4 good quality receivers that can mess that defense up and draw defenders left, right, and centre.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I get your point. Yeah, but I mean, if you're doing a standard, a vanilla offense, really bog standard, you've got a tight end, you've got 1 running back, and you've got your 2 wideys. There's too many pieces. They're going to have to rotate them in and out, and they're all only going to get 20, 30 snaps a game.
I think I was thinking about it from like a chemistry point of view, and I was thinking, could that cause issues? So from like Mecole Hardman, who they drafted in the 3rd round, who started pretty well.
He's got wheels.
Yep. He was quiet in this game.
Robinson has exploded this season. You see the one that went off for about 130 odd yards last week, and it was like, who's this guy?
Yeah, Robinson's had a big week, as has Hardman.
Watkins started off the season an absolute flyer.
And it's a good problem to have, right? But I just thought maybe that's why 24 out of 42 completion rate. Is there too many people that he's trying to hit too many times?
Yeah.
But how are the targets spread? So you've got 8 targets for Kelce, 9 for Robinson, 6 for Watkins, then 4, 2, 4, 5, 1. Yeah, maybe there's a point there. I don't know.
It's a good problem to have.
It's a very good problem to have, I think, yeah. Particularly when you've got 2 playmakers to come back.
Yep.
So yeah, that was my sort of summation of that game.
Cool.
The Lions are a legitimate team, and I think I expect to see them in the playoffs.
Colin.
Dun dun dun.
He's going for it.
So, from a very explosive game to a damp squib, the Panthers and the Texans was pretty much a defensive battle, featuring CMC sort of proving his worth as at least the top 2 running backs right now, well, at least between him and Kamara.
Yeah, I would agree. It's definitely between those 2.
Obviously Saquon could be there in terms if he was fit, etc., but he's not, so he's out the window. But in this game, there was a couple of things that really stood out for me. The Panthers' defense is underrated. Luke Kuechly doesn't get the love that he probably deserves. I know he's in things like All-Pro and all that sort of stuff, but in terms of what he does and how he coordinates the defense from his position, he's one of the best at it.
Publicly, he doesn't quite seem to get it. Within the game, he is very well respected, and everyone knows he is the absolute bona fide. You want a middle linebacker, you take him.
Yeah, it was just, he was so good, and the middle linebackers, that's usually the captain on the defense for most teams, and Kuechly was just outstanding the way that he coordinated this game from the Panthers' point of view. I felt that there's definitely something not right with the Texans in terms of their offense. Considering how explosive the players they have, they just do not seem to click. Mm-hmm. They don't seem to get big yardage from anyone. Hopkins threw an interception this game, and one of the worst plays I've ever seen. It was the most.
I actually got back and watched it. You know that.
It's one of the most telegraphed things that you'll ever see from that sort of play. Anyway, like the way he was lined up, he was sort of almost square on behind the quarterback. It was just like he's 100% throwing it as soon as he gets it. It just felt really obvious, and then it was quite a poor pass into double coverage. So,
and that's probably why. That's the risk with those plays, is that it's not a quarterback throwing the ball, so he's not recognised that it's double coverage that he's throwing it into, and a quarterback would probably, or a decent quarterback would look at it and go, right, I'm not throwing it there, where's my second read?
Yeah.
But you're not going to get that on these.
Yeah, you've got one play.
Yeah.
So Hopkins went 5 for 41. That's all he done in this game. 41 yards. The Panthers kept him in check. Didn't even have anything to me that was like close to a big play. But just really did not seem in sync this game.
I looked at his fantasy points at one point in the third quarter.
Yep.
And he was sitting on negative 0.6 because he'd thrown an interception, which is minus 2 points, and he was 2 receptions for 14 yards in the third quarter.
For who you could quite easily argue is the best receiver in the game. He's not shown up this year, but I don't think it's so much him.
No. There's something wrong with that offense in general.
Was he a slow starter last year?
Hopkins.
I remember trading him to you.
I think he did.
And I think that was because he started quite slowly.
And then exploded.
The Texans were 0-3 and were definitely slow as a team.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know his numbers off the top of my head, but what I was thinking as well from watching this game back, it felt like, so you've got Will Fuller who can top off the defence. To me, I think that teams have maybe sussed the Texans out a little bit. You know, if you have one guy playing a little bit deeper in the safety position and you're confident that he can keep Fuller in check, double team on Nuke, and you know that their offensive line's pretty crap, so you can pressure them, you can put Watson in a difficult situation. I feel like he's not got very good decision making, and last year we've seen quite a lot of scrambling as well. Didn't see that in this game at all. So
yeah, is he still? He's still a bit worried about it. Do you think he's still working back from his knee and he's just he's not quite where he was 2 seasons ago, and he's just working back?
Is this potentially because, I think over the last couple of years from watching Watson, is he puts himself in danger far too much. When he's scrambling and he's got the first down and a savvy quarterback will just slide.
Yep.
He doesn't. He runs into the tackle and takes the hit. Has he maybe been told stop doing it, but it's having too much of an impact on the rest of his game, and it's just stopping him running properly?
Could be that. Yeah. The other thing as well from a Texas point of view, at no point were they out of this game, but they forced 3 fumbles from Kyle Allen and recovered them all.
Kyle Allen didn't look particularly great either, but that's against a really difficult defence. The thing that I felt maybe in this game that could have helped the Texans was the run game was pretty efficient. Carlos Hyde was averaging just less than 5 yards per carry.
Yeah.
Duke Johnson, I think he was about 7 yards per carry. So the run game was actually working when they were playing it, and they just didn't stick with it. Whereas I felt that was maybe their opportunity. 2 runs with Hyde and you've almost got a first down.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and I mean that's a basic, is it not, in the NFL? Establish the run.
Yeah. I just felt like
build off the back of it.
Especially when Hopkins wasn't having a good game. Yeah, it just seems like it's not clicking there. But just to finish up on the Panthers' defence, 5 sacks and 5 tackles for a loss. Mario Addison got 2 sacks and 2 tackles for a loss and absolutely bossed it. So yeah, that was that strange game.
Watson's up to 18 sacks taken this season already. He's again just poor.
And the thing is, right, they tried to address it in the draft. They drafted a offensive lineman who I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but
it should be Andre Dillard. That's why I remember the guy they should have took, not who they actually did.
The guy that they drafted in the first round was projected as
Titus Howard.
That was it. Yeah, so he was projected to go in the 3rd round, and they took him in the 1st. And their O-line's just as bad as it was before. They don't.
Barry Tunsil has not shut down that side yet. Whether he's just needed a few games and a new scheme, do you know?
So yeah. I guess so. I sort of spoke about my player in focus this week of Deshaun Watson there, but what I wanted to get your guys' takes on. So if you win, but your quarterback isn't the reason that you're winning, how long do you stay with that quarterback? So what I mean by
I know what you mean. Far longer. Well.
So for example, the Texans will probably get the playoffs again, or just about.
Yeah, they're gonna.
Wild
they're
card
definitely
or
going
worse.
to be a about at the tail end of the season, yeah. But I know what you mean. So you're thinking, well,
because where is the
right,
progress?
he's still passing. So he's got 65% completion percentage so far this season in the 4 games. You'll take that. You'll take that from any quarterback. I know what you mean though. It's the game.
It was 160
actually,
yards though.
Stats in the game. Oh no, I mean in season.
Oh,
total,
season, right. Sorry.
He's 82 from 126. 938 yards. So he's not. He's there or thereabouts in terms of above average. The sacks are a problem. He's 6 touchdowns in 4 games. You'd probably want a bit more.
Especially when you consider who you've got.
But
they're tied 3rd worst in the league for sacks conceded in the first 4 weeks.
what are they? Right? Who's worse?
So have a guess who's the worst.
Arizona Cardinals.
Yes.
Yeah, you
So
said that.
they've
last
conceded
week.
20 sacks. Cincinnati Bengals have conceded 19. And then it's the Texans and the Dolphins have both conceded 18. And then Titans on 17.
So my thinking is, right, if you're saying Deshaun Watson is your franchise quarterback, they've brought in Tunsil, they've brought in Howard, but I still think they had to do more to protect him, considering the injury he's had. Their offensive line was already pretty crap across the field. So just to bring in 2 players, as good as Tunsil was at the Dolphins, is it enough? And bear in mind, a rookie offensive lineman going in as a starter, I think
it is bizarrely one of the more difficult positions to. You tend to find the stellar O-lineman. Very rarely is it during their rookie season. It takes them a few seasons to get up to speed, and then they become like stalwarts for 10 years.
Yeah, I think there was actually a comment, I think it was in this game, the commentator said that they asked one of the players, the offensive lineman, and they said the issue they had was they didn't realise the speed and athleticism of the NFL defensive ends compared to the college game.
I think that seems to shock a lot of people. How good, but then it's just natural talent pool reduction. You're going from 120 odd college teams, like top level, right down to 32. It's only 1 in 4. You know what I mean? It's when you squeeze everyone right in.
So yeah, I just thought that'd be a bit of provocation. At what point do you think? And Watson's still really young, right? So this is ahead of the thing, but.
Well, okay, so I'm gonna chuck out my best pal Jameis Winston on this, only because we like talking about him. But Tampa Bay's given him 5 seasons. Okay, they haven't been winning much, and they did have the whole trying to switch him out for Fitzmagic last season, which worked for 3 games where Fitzmagic was kicking off, and then they still went back to him anyway. But
they probably wouldn't have gone to Fitzmagic if Winston wasn't suspended at the start of last year, though.
Yeah, he was suspended for 2 games.
Was. And then they had to play the whole hand. Okay. Otherwise, naturally he would have probably come in.
Because he came after the bye week, didn't he? Because they had an early bye week, I'm sure, as well.
Yeah, week 4, and then he came back week 5 or something like that. Or halfway through the game, because I think they switched him out at half time because Fitzmagic threw 4 interceptions in the first half or something crazy like that. And that was him done for another season. So if you take that as the logic, then I reckon Houston's going to stick with Watson way longer than what Tampa have done with.
I just feel that their window is small. Their window of being a playoff team is getting smaller and smaller.
There is, but I think Watson is young enough that you can rebuild around him and have another window in his career.
Do you think he can take them back into that space?
Yes.
Yeah, I think he's got enough raw talent.
Yeah. But I totally know why you're asking the question.
Because I think once JJ Watt goes, that's a huge blow.
Pretty much in his twilight now, I think you can.
That is a
I would not be shocked if this is his last year.
It's not even just about his production though, it's what he brings to the defence, the leadership, all that sort of thing.
I'm sure we mentioned it, if not last week, the week before, how much they are clearly missing Clowney. I don't think they realised how much of a loss he was going to be until now that he's gone. Now, Whitney Merciless is stepping up a bit again because they used to have 3 tenors on the outside. Now they've only got 2, so at least he's getting a bit more snaps and more game time, and he's getting more sacks out of it. But there's just like a half a step missing of that defence that they would have had Clowney, because he commands that attention, and they don't need to give that up now. It's just something else to throw in the mix.
Yeah. So, Steve, who was your player of the week that you want to quickly speak about?
So I decided to go with. So there was a little known running back, but we'll mention him in a minute. So there was actually 2 milestones that fell this weekend, but this one was way more impressive than the other milestone, which we'll talk about now, was Larry Fitz going second all time in receptions.
Yep.
The young lad in question is a certain Mr. Frank Gore, who at 36 years old is still absolutely bossing the NFL. Broke through 15,000 yards. He sits fourth all time in the rushing yard list, and he got 106 yards at the weekend there off of only something like 13 or 14 carries. I mean, his average was 6 point something. It was pretty lunacy. But the reason why I thought he deserves a little bit more love than Fitz, because we only have to pick one person anyway, is that I don't think, and they said it in the commentary as well, don't think anyone's going to get up where he is now. The generation of running back that he comes from doesn't exist anymore.
Yep.
Yeah.
So the active leaders at the minute, so you've got Gore on 15,021. You then got AP on about 13,000, but he's at the end of quite a long career, and he's only a bit part player now. Shady McCoy's just broke through 10,000, so he's like 5,000 behind already. That's 5 years more. He's not going to play that long. The next one, so the fourth active, Mark Ingram, only 6,800.
Wow.
It falls off so quickly. And we know what the league is like now, about they'll just switch any running back in and out and play him for a couple of seasons.
It's an undervalued position.
Back out. It's totally flipped. Zeke is going to have to do some absolute nonsense to get anywhere near this. I don't think he's going to do it.
Do you think Zeke is
He's the only one
most
that's
likely threat to that total?
Probably not, but the only reason we're thinking of him is we've got the way Dallas play, which is quite a lot through him, and that O-line, which they've valued and put a lot of draft capital into over a lot of seasons, and I think they will continue to as they cycle through this generation of O-line into the next one. I think they'll still put first rounders in there and keep it.
I think you're probably right, because he's also not the Saquon, Kamara, CMC type who is a massive threat in the passing game. He is still capable, but he's not a guy that you're going to look at as someone who's going to try and break that 1,000 of each in a year, which the other three could potentially do. But where Zeke, it's the majority of his yards are going to come on the ground.
I'm going to run, I'm going to get you 1,500 yards in the season. It's all going to be through the ground, but I'm going to absolutely cause some havoc.
Yeah.
So he has the potential to do it, but we're talking, I mean, this is a long term. He's going to have to get through this whole deal that they've got him on at the minute, which at the minute looks like a nonsensely structured deal that, well, okay, we're paying you for 4 seasons, but then we've got to get out for the next 4. So I don't know, but the fact that he broke through 15,000 yards, and what got me was I genuinely felt any time he carried the ball on Sunday, because I watched that game. It was positive yardage. It was a quick step and go. It was all, and it was chunk plays, and it was hitting the defender and passing and going through the defender to gain more yards after contact.
Downhill.
None of this. Running downhill. It's kind of old school running thought process.
No jinking, junking.
We've got now all this fancy. I'm just going to outrun you to the side and all this crap.
Yeah.
Gore
I will run the straight line and run at you as hard as I can.
I'll just take you out, I don't care.
There was something I actually thought about Frank Gore in this game as well. So Josh Allen didn't have a great game before he went out, but this season he has taken a leap in terms of his overall performance compared to last season. Josh Allen, that is. And I thought, how much does that help having someone like Frank Gore with a young quarterback, just helping him manage the game, steady the game out.
Gore's pass protection is
that's
actually quite well renowned as well.
Yep.
The other stat from the game, which I completely forgot about until right now, he has led the team he has been on every season he has been in the league so far.
I was surprised.
That is ludicrous.
Wow.
That is ludicrous. He's in his 15th season now, and every year he has been the team's leading rusher.
That's good. I like that. Hats off to you, Mr. Gore. Hats off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Andrew finishes up on players we like to speak about, or not.
Or not like to speak about, but we're going to speak about, and I'm going to speak about the head case that is Vontez Burfict.
Whoa.
So he was ejected from the Raiders game against, who were they playing? I've totally lost. The Colts, yes. So for lower your head, smash the opposition player in the head with your helmet, hit on Jack Doyle, tight end.
It was pretty disgusting.
It was horrible. and there is absolutely no place for it in the game. Burfict has now been banned for the rest of the season. But I'm more interested as to why the teams actually keep giving him a chance. So I have got his rap sheet up in front of me. So let's start with the NFL Combine in 2012, where he failed the drugs test.
That's not that bad.
Oh, not compared to what he did after
Okay,
this.
yeah, but it's a great start. It's a great start. Okay, so he then was widely recognised as probably a first-round talent. They expected him to probably be taken in the the 7th round. He went undrafted and was picked up as an undrafted free agent by the Cincinnati Bengals. Since then, September 2013, so he behaved in his rookie year, year 2. Fined $10,000 for striking an opponent in the groin, an additional $21,000 for a hit on a defenceless receiver in the same game. October 2013, so he's obviously got up and running, so into the next month. Fined $21,000 for spearing a receiver.
Excellent.
He behaves for a year. October 2014, fined $25,000 for twisting the ankles of Cam Newton and Greg Olsen in a game against the Panthers. December 2015, $69,000 fine for 2 unnecessary roughness penalties and diving at Steelers quarterback Ben Roethlisberger's knee. January 2016, $50,000 fine for hitting a defenceless receiver on the chin. I'm really having trouble saying defenceless here.
You can skip it for the rest of the time. We know that they're all defenceless.
Same month, suspended 3 games and forfeits $500,000 in salary for a headshot on defenceless wide receiver Antonio Brown, and that is a horror hit. Maybe it says a lot about what's happened with Antonio Brown.
This is the one that everyone thinks, since the wheels have fallen off.
Yeah. October 2016, fined $75,000 for stepping on Patriots running back LeGarrette Blount. November 2016, $12,000 fine. This is a great one. Fined $12,000 for giving the middle finger to Bills fans. Brilliant. August 2017, suspended 3 games, reduced from 5 for a hit on a defenceless player. October 2017, $12,000 for kicking an opponent. March 2018, 4 games for substance abuse policy. October 2018, fined $112 for multiple examples of unnecessary roughness in a game against the Steelers.
That is $112,000, not just $112.
Yeah, $112,000, yeah. And that then leads to October 2019, where he's been suspended for
You want to know what?
the rest of the season.
I bet there's like a level of coaches thinking I could be the one that can just channel that the right way.
Yes. So at his position, as a linebacker, aggression is a positive. And being able to be aggressive and channel that properly is massive, and it can make you into an elite player. And obviously he has the building blocks to be a very, very good linebacker.
Doesn't have a bank balance for it.
No.
Did you not say he is total...
Since he came into the league, he has been suspended for 19% of the games that he's been eligible to play.
That's
and
pretty bad.
Between fines and salary that he has lost for his behaviour, it's ticked up to a little over $5 million now. He's missed out on
$5 million.
Jeez Louise. But yeah, I think that's what it will be though. Defensive coordinators will think I can be the person that can get him to channel it right.
Did the Raiders go too far with that mindset, bringing in Burfict, Antonio Brown, and Rich Incognito all at the same time?
Well, he's behaved himself so far.
Incognito has behaved himself, and actually on Hard Knocks came across as very mellow.
Yes.
Which,
But,
Drugs will do that to you.
you never know. Maybe because he had a year out, did he not?
He did, yeah.
You wonder if that was the wake up call, and he's actually really appreciative of being back. What got me in Hard Knocks was actually the size of him. I had not appreciated how big he was. Trent Brown, you knew he was a big, massive tank, and that scene where he's putting AB's pads on, it looks like he's dressing a 5-year-old kid. It's hilarious. But actually, Incognito was chatting to AB, I think, in another scene, and how much bigger Incognito was as a unit, not only height wise but width.
Yeah.
Just anyway, we digress. We're not really talking about him. Back to Burfict.
So yeah, do you think the Raiders have maybe went a little bit far and it's backfired. Obviously, with AB, it's backfired. With Burfict, it's backfired.
It's a very Raiders move. They've always been known in the 12 years I think I've been watching properly now. They always pick the head cases up. They get, this veteran free agent who's a bit of a nut job and can't get a job anywhere else. And the Raiders is like, it's like the last pit stop, the last redemption place for you. I don't know. I know what you mean.
I don't mind it.
I still felt that somebody would probably kick the tires on him after he got released from the Bengals this year. Regardless of all what he's done, I think what's really disappointing is the whole leopard can't change spots type thing. He trotted off the field smiling.
Yeah, like blowing kisses to the crowd.
Yeah, there was no remorse, there was no holding the head, there was no damn it, I shouldn't have done that or any, and he was just like, yeah.
Is it bad that I quite like that? That was my favourite part of it. I was like, what? Guy's an asshole. Jeez. He knows he's an asshole. Fair play.
It's so weird though, because it's such a different level of asshole. So you've got assholes that do things that, I'm just going to say like what Tyreek Hill did, okay? And that's crap, and you view negatively on that person for it.
Yeah.
Burfict, he's an asshole, but it's an on-game asshole. He's on the field.
Yeah.
He doesn't seem to do too much stupid in his personal life, which is thankfully quite good. But he's mental on the field.
You know what, maybe that's
mental.
Maybe that's his way of channeling.
Yeah.
But he needs to be able to fine-tune that.
Maybe that's the argument as to why he keeps getting a chance, because maybe off the field he's actually probably a solid guy.
Quite agreeable.
But
what I hope happens is that he
gets his suspension overturned.
Even if that,
I think it'll get reduced. I don't think he'll be out for the whole year.
I think
Do you think the Raiders bring him back?
No.
But
here's what I hope happens: give him to Greg Williams.
Yes. That was up to the Jets. Actually, you need help at the linebacker court. That's not a bad move.
There would be a receiver leaving a game with a broken neck.
The Burfict trotting off the field, smiling, going, "I think I did it again." I wonder how much the fine's going to be this time.
The Jets would be the first team cut for manslaughter.
Vontez Burfict.
For all the wrong reasons.
He is suspended and keep him out of the league, please. So that brings us to our prediction.
Andrew, let's recap on the prediction.
No, please, let's recap. Because I got 3 out of 3 last week.
So Andrew, what happened last week?
We chose the Redskins at the Giants, the Titans at the Falcons, the Jaguars at the Broncos. You two chose all the winners, I chose all the losers.
Because you getting too cute. You had to feel you felt you had to choose the opposite team to put a bit of fight in this prediction rather than going with what you genuinely thought.
Yeah, a little bit.
And it's flowing back in your...
I definitely felt that when you picked the Redskins.
Yeah. And now I'm sitting on 3 from 9. Steve's on 5 from 9. And
mild redemption.
Gav's on 8 from 9. And I hate it.
You want to know what annoys me the most?
You're not betting on this.
Not even that. The one game that I picked wrong was your bloody Cardinals.
And we all picked it wrong. We all picked that one wrong.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So where are we going this week?
So let's head to the south with the first game.
Some stinkers this week, haven't we?
And the first game we're going to try and predict the outcome of is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the New Orleans Saints. So the Bucs are fresh off an incredible road win in LA where they put up 55 points, the franchise record.
Jeez Louise.
Absolutely insane. The Saints coming off a good win against the Cowboys, but their first win since week 8, was it? Week 8 in 1998. The first time, was the last time they won a game without scoring a touchdown.
Yes, something like that. In 21 years level, it's just lunacy.
So let's go to Steve first.
Damn. Do you know what? If Breeze was playing, I would happily call New Orleans. I wouldn't think it would be quite so dicey.
Yeah. Because
he's not there, and I just don't quite believe in Teddy B. Something's not clicking 100%. in Minnesota, sorry, in New Orleans. This is me regressing back to where people used to play. Like every time they say the Chargers, they come from San Diego. But if Tampa hadn't gone into LA and smashed 55 points in and shown just a absolute complete performance, and BA looks to have got them on the rebound, this would be so one-sided it wouldn't even be on the slate. But I'm literally going to flick a coin on this one.
Is that game from that weekend there, is that this season's Bills Vikings?
The anomaly?
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, the reason I'm going to say I don't know is because I think I'm going to go with Tampa Bay. I think Tampa Bay is going to go into the Dome and cause that upset. BA has got them ticking. They're balling out. I think they're just playing with like no fear. They almost like don't care so much on how many points they let in. But then on the flip side, you've got like say Shaq Barrett doing MVP level, absolute record-breaking stuff on defense. Yeah.
So you're going Bucks.
Yeah.
Gav, who have you got for this game?
Bucks.
How?
My quick reasoning behind it is kind of echoing what Steve said. The aggressive nature of the Bucks defense will stop Teddy Bridgewater getting into a rhythm, and the Saints gave up 5 sacks against the Cowboys, who don't have the best pass rush.
So yeah,
and when you
should cause a lot more havoc.
So
Dominican Sue gonna come in.
Well, I was thinking Sue, Barrett, David, the other one.
No, Vinny Curry went back. Jason Pierre-Paul.
Yeah. Is he injured?
JPP. I don't know. I haven't heard his name much this season, so I don't. But I know he's on the team.
So yeah, I'm saying that aggressive front sort of from the Bucks, and then just letting Jameis Winston go as deep as he wants and trust that his wide receivers can do what they need to do.
Which at the minute, Evans and Godwin are just absolutely taking the piss, really.
Yep. So
you've gone Bucks as well, and I am going Saints. To
Just
continue
to be
the trend. It's genuinely not just to be different. I do think that the Saints will win this out. I think it was a poorer performance in a win. I think the offense will rebound, and I just can't see the Bucks going into New Orleans and coming away with a win.
Feed Kamara,
and then throw it to Thomas over the top.
I mean, Thomas was still 9 for 9 at the weekend.
Yeah.
I mean, the boy doesn't drop a pass. It's lunacy.
Yeah, a player to keep a hold of in fantasy, Steve.
Season's lost. I'm already 0-4.
Next game, Packers at Cowboys, and I'm going to jump in first on this one. So, 2 strong teams in theory.
they're both 3-1.
They are both 3-1, but the difference with the Cowboys 3-1 is the 3 were against some pretty poor teams, I think. Whereas I think the Packers have played better teams and won harder games. And for that reason, more than most, I think that the Packers will come away with a win. I think that their defence has looked very good. They are coming up against one of the best defensive lines in the league, but I still think they'll come out on top.
So that's what worries me though, because they kind of threw up a bit of a stinker on the Thursday game against the Eagles. Nothing on the defence, no interceptions, no sacks, just big hee-haw.
Is that more down to the ridiculous efficiency of the Eagles in that game because they 160 passing yards? Is it just one of these games where it fell right for them? I don't know.
It might have been.
So
that's my
Steve,
worry, because
coming
if
to
the
you
line is
next.
so good, if they rebound, you almost felt like the offense found their feet because Rodgers went for 420 yards and actually looked like his old self a bit. I think I might just slide with the Cowboys on that. These picks are stinky this week, man. You've picked some absolute
Cowboys.
brutal ones.
I see a trend here and I don't like it. I really
Just go
don't.
against Andrew.
I don't like it at all. The last game we've got is the Browns at the 49ers. Gav, who you got? Browns, okay, why?
I think last week was the get right game for the Browns. I think they pressed a little reset button and it just looked like everything was working for them on offence.
So what they did, they gave the ball to Chubb. So what they should have done, the thing that made them work in the second half of last season, Freddie Kitchens we've got that team rebounding, was feeding the ball to Chubb, feeding the ball to Chubb, feeding the ball to Chubb, Baker Mayfield, play action, completion.
Yep.
That was literally how they went for the last trucked on for the end of the last season, and they did it last week.
I think the only way, so the 49ers front seven is scary, as we've already spoke about. The way that they can lose this game is if they stop with the run. Like if it starts slow and then they go to letting Mayfield pass it all over the place, they will lose. They have to kind of ride the storm a little bit.
Yeah. And
so
if they get lucky and they don't cough
and
a
also,
fumble or anything like that early in the game as well, which is going to give you that problem.
My other reasoning is Jimmy Garoppolo has been crap this year. He is not the reason that the 49ers are 4-0.
It's just a run game, isn't it?
It is not down to him at all. And I think
but he's got a good offence around him, so he's only been sacked twice in the first 4 games.
I think that'll change in this
and
game.
There's only been 11 hits on him as well, so they're second for quarterback hits.
How many? Most of those would have came against the Bengals, because did they not? Or was it the Bucks? The Bucks game. Can't remember. But yeah, I think that the Browns' defense will get to Jimmy G, and he's not good under pressure.
Okay.
Have I gone for 3 aways? No.
No, you've gone for 1 home team and 2 away teams. I am really conflicted on this one. I think it is a really, really tight choice. But I think I agree with you. I do think the Browns will go and win. And I'm breaking this streak of opposite picks.
We'll throw that 3 for 3 because I haven't just had a look at the 49ers schedule. Yes, they're coming off a bye week, but the 3 wins have been against Tampa Bay, the Bengals, and the Steelers.
That was the first game after Big Ben, wasn't it? Or was that during the game?
Week 3. I think it was the first game that Rudolph started.
Yeah.
But the point being that the calibre of the 3 wins, kind of alluding to what we were talking about earlier on, was they weren't against really solid teams. So, yeah, I think I'm slightly more on the Browns side on this one. It would not be surprising the slightest, though, if the 49ers come out and win the game. You know, that's the reason why we pick these really dicey ones. But
yeah. Okay, so we're all saying that the Browns are going to win that.
Yep.
Interesting.
So, that takes us to the end of another episode of the AF Cast. I've been Gavin, Andrew's been Andrew, Steve's been Steve. Hope you've enjoyed.
Oh, you missed a chance. Steve's been rubbish. I thought you were going to throw in something like that in.
It's okay, I'll let you hang your own noose. So you can find us on...
Find us on Twitter at the AF Cast. Search the American Fitbaw Cast on Facebook. Like, share, review, tell your friends.
That's it. Tell your pals. Please tell your pals.
Bye.
You've been listening to another great podcast from the Fair City Podcast Network, a group dedicated to connecting and developing podcasts. Check out fcpod.net for more great podcasts and content.